You're listening to the Lanterns Radio Network. We are the network dedicated to empowering the individual, illuminating the truth, defending American exceptionalism, and inspiring future generations. Stay connected and get involved at lanterns.buzz for great radio. Get commentary and news of the day. Lanterns.buzz.
You know, I wish we could find some way to hold people accountable. Free speech is a great idea, but we're in a war.
To make sure the economy doesn't collapse, I've abandoned free market principles to save the free market system.
In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
You're listening to Common Sense Radio with A.J. Davis on the Lanterns Radio Network.
All appropriate departments of our government, from Homeland Security to Defense, are engaged fully in the disaster and the response and recovery effort. Probably has never been seen for something like this. This is an island surrounded by water, big water, ocean water. We're closely coordinated with the territorial and local governments, which are totally and unfortunately unable to handle this catastrophic crisis on their own, just totally unable to. The police and truck drivers are very substantially gone. They're taking care of their families and largely unable to get involved, largely unable to help. Therefore, we're forced to bring in truck drivers, security, and many, many other personnel by the thousands, and we're bringing them onto the island as we speak. We've never seen a situation like this.
Welcome to the program, folks. You're listening to Common Sense Radio on the Lanterns Radio Network. Glad to have you here on Columbus Day, or as the lefties and progressives say, Indigenous People Day. We could talk about that all night if you'd like, but I think I got some more important things to talk about. Did you like that intro clip that I provided you, where Puerto Rico is surrounded by water? It's an island, big water. I'm sorry, I just couldn't help myself with that. It was funny. But the president has been under attack for anything he's done since January. Heck, since November when he was elected. They were out in the streets protesting him. They never will give him a chance. You know that, and I know that. But he made a good point on that clip is they keep saying, oh, well, the truck drivers are going to work. The police, everything in Puerto Rico. Well, I disagree. I think he articulated it perfectly in that speech. Is he's telling them, the people of Puerto Rico, the truck drivers, the police, they want to be helping their family and their neighbors. That's what they're doing right now, versus going and delivering supplies all over. I mean, they want to make sure their family's okay. That's what I would do. I can guarantee you that's what I would be doing. And any other person you talk to, or just think about what would you be doing if you were hit with a natural disaster. I can guarantee you I'd be trying to help my neighbor and my family. That's exactly what I would be doing. Anyways, the Democrats, Tom Perez, Chucky Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and my favorite politician of all time, Keith Ellison, the one who blocked me off of Twitter, decided to all gather around a round table this week and discuss the issues from Puerto Rico to Dreamers to deficit and their normal games. I listened to that video. I don't know. They did it on Facebook Live, and there's a YouTube version. And I listened to it for more times than I really should have. But I wanted to really cover it because no one's really listening to what these jokers are talking about. And they're very clear and open about everything they're going to do. Anyways, go ahead and take a listen to the first clip I have.
And there should have been a stronger presence sooner there. You hear different things. Some people say the reason that supplies can't get through is because the roads are blocked and that the drivers can't get to the trucks and that this or that. Whatever it is, we have to leapfrog over it. Helicopters are one way. The military has those in big supply. Some of our colleagues have gone down there and brought back stories like yours. But it is something that we have to pray for the people there in Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, Texas, Florida, and the rest, as we also mourn the losses in Nevada.
Absolutely, but prayers, I absolutely believe in the power of prayer, but I also believe that those of us who are in government have a responsibility to step up and be effective. And so I am very pleased with, the resilience that ordinary Puerto Ricans are showing for each other, and
yes.
But I think we absolutely need to see quicker, faster, more robust response. What are the?
We're talking about a natural disaster, that the roads are destroyed, the power grid is destroyed. I don't know what the devastation looks like down in Puerto Rico. I haven't been there personally, but I'm imagining a hurricane can destroy quite a bit. That's just a guess on my part. But if you notice, Nancy, it needs to be sooner. I mean, come on, for goodness sakes. We want to do it right. I mean, give our president a break, seriously. And like I said, I'm not a big fan of his. I haven't been. I was Ted Cruz supporter. But wishing for him to fail is like getting on a plane and praying that the pilot crashes. I mean, for goodness sakes. And the most important part of that whole entire clip, I hope you caught, was Keith Ellison saying, oh yeah, I believe in the power of prayer, but I also believe in the power of government. Yeah, because, Keith, you are a socialist. You are a progressive. I mean, one and the same almost. You believe that government should be in every part of everyone's life. You believe that. I mean, just your actions, your rhetoric that you speak proves that to me. And one of the things that just drives me nuts is they're out there encouraging all the hate and discontent that is going on nationwide, and they're just adding fuel to the fire. That's what this entire Facebook Live video that they put on was about. It was just to help raise the grassroots up of leftist, socialist, democratic, communist, whatever you want to call them, people that are going to go out into the streets. And that's all we have seen for 9 months. When is enough enough? When are we going to come together? Yeah, we all know that President Trump isn't the most articulate guy, but let's give him a chance. 9 months. Listen to this next clip.
Then to move in with emergency relief and then the recovery effort and then the building that comes after that. And what was sad, and hopefully this will be in our past and never happen again, was that at the time of Sandy, people were saying, well, we have to pay for it and we don't want to pay for it and the rest of that. This time we would never do that to our colleagues in Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, any other place. To remove all doubt, when it happens, we're there, and it's emergency funding. Don't worry about paying for it, because the investment that we make there is investments in people's lives, saving them and rebuilding them.
We got your back.
Yeah,
we're with you.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. We've had a compact in America. Mm-hmm. When one part of America has trouble, the rest all comes to that part's aid. And we've done this for decades, if not centuries. And some of our colleagues on the other side tried to break that compact with Sandy and with others. Hopefully, even though Texas is probably as Republican as New York and New Jersey were Democratic, we're not responding similarly. We're saying we believe in that compact for everybody. And so we've been, Nancy and I and the people.
It drives me nuts that these members of Congress are going and saying, well, our colleagues down in Texas, they didn't want to vote for any hurricane relief for Sandy because it was a bill full of pork. And if the bill for Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, Florida, Texas was full of pork, I would be completely against it as well. I mean, with people like that, the government and power is everything to them. They worship it. Let's talk about some real solutions. I mean, I saw something on the internet, on the World Wide Web, as Al Gore states, that Elon Musk is talking about helping with rebuilding the power grid. I mean, how phenomenal is that? I would love to see that. I would love to see Elon Musk go down there, even though he is subsidized. He is subsidized by the government. But with the thinking that he has is advancing the world, advancing technology, advancing everything. If we're going to rebuild it, let's rebuild it right and to be sustainable. Not green sustainable, but long-term sustainability. Not, electric car chargers at every 5 blocks. Come on now. Let's listen to this next clip.
The House is going to be a real focal point here. There are 40 Republican suburban districts that are fairly affluent, where over 30% of the people pay the state and local taxes, and who will get a tax hike,
right?
A significant tax hike. So it's going to kill them. And I challenge every one of those 40. 6 are in my state, 10 are in Nancy's state. Are you going to vote with your constituents? Or are you going to vote with the hard right ideologues of the Republican Party who want to cut this? And there's another part of middle class. You have a big family. This tax bill is against big families.
Right.
I was joking. I said it's an anti-Mormon bill. It's an anti-Catholic bill. It's an anti-Orthodox Jewish bill. And there was a headline in the Salt Lake City newspaper, Bill Anti-Mormon. Why? Because while they
Excuse me, Senator Schumer, when did you care about big families? When you're tweeting out on October 6th, this outrageous decision rips a fundamental right away from millions of hardworking women. And that's the rollback of the Obamacare contraception rule. And then he goes on, the very next tweet, we've long turned the page on days when a boss could stand between a woman and her healthcare decisions. POTUS's decision drags the U.S. backwards. No, Senator Schumer. What drags the country backwards is progressive policies and things that are killing babies. I mean, how hard is it to understand that you support NARAL, you support Planned Parenthood, and you support the anti-choice movement, which is code word for I like killing babies. If we go out and have fun, because in the culture that we live in, sex, you're okay with, oh, I had an accident, and let's just murder the innocent child. Because $9 a month in birth control, or even cheaper, I mean, you could probably spend $9 a month in condoms. I mean, how much sex are you having? Or you can go without. I mean, that's hard. That's difficult. I understand. That's very, very difficult. Very difficult. Imagine the sailors and other military members that are away from their wives for months upon months. I was away from my wife for 6 months. 6 months. And we're talking about $9 birth control and condoms. Oh my gosh, it's agonizing. So he's claiming that the tax bill is anti-big family, and I have not looked at the tax bill. At this point, to me, it's pointless too, because it's going to change how many times, and they're going to go back and forth. But it's hypocritical to me. He's talking, it's anti-big family. You're anti-family, Chuck Schumer. Give me a break. I mean, this is absolutely agonizing. To even imagine somebody as wild and progressive as Chuck Schumer is claiming something is anti-big family. When the heck did you care about my family? Okay, let me tell you what. I have 3 kids and a wife. I work 2 jobs, and I work as much overtime as I can at my normal job. The thing that I struggle with is taxes. Whenever I look at my pay stub, the taxes are unbelievable each month. And then you throw in my cost of living, you throw in my electric bill, my water bill. I mean, that's a whole, I digress. That's a whole different ballgame, my city and state's electric and water bill. But I imagine all of you, nationwide, are getting taxed out of their mind. The water bills, the electric bills, garbage bills. I mean, that's the stuff that, with less regulation, these places can be more profitable, and the costs will go down where more people can. I mean, that's what you spend a third to half of your budget on, is your mortgage or your rent and your utility bills. I mean, I've been ahead of the curve on a lot of things. We cut the cable bill, I mean, 5-6 years ago. I was like, $200 a month for something. No. We got on Netflix, Hulu, and there's so many more options right now that it's just absolutely incredible. Well, it's that time again. We're going to take a break. You're listening to Common Sense Radio on the Lanterns Radio Network.
You're listening to the Lanterns Radio Network. We are the network dedicated to empowering the individual, illuminating the truth, defending American exceptionalism, and inspiring future generations. Stay connected and get involved at lanterns.buzz. For great radio, get commentary and news of the day. Lanterns.buzz.
In every rising of the sun, my purpose was to be thankful to be alive. I was even more thankful for the blessings that came with this life, specifically Virdis, my wife. But that came to an end when Aklavane and her minions violently took her away from me. So my new purpose in this life is to gather all the pieces of the Stone's Heart so I can defeat Aklavane and get back my bride. Join me as I travel to new worlds, making new friends and avoiding old enemies. Read more about my story in the first 2 books of the Stone's Heart series, which are now available on Amazon.com in Kindle format. The first book is The Quest for Savitvarda, and that is followed by The Heart of Pagaila. Stone's Heart is more than a fantasy and a sci-fi quest. It's me fighting to get back my precious wife, despite the overwhelming odds against me. Stone's Heart. Join, explore, and believe.
Welcome back to the program, folks. You're listening to Common Sense Radio on the Lanterns Radio Network. So glad to be here with you. I'm going to continue on that Facebook Live video that I watched. It just made me sick. And you need to hear what they're saying. I mean, the people like Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Keith Ellison, they're really good at inciting the hate into people's heart. I mean, just from what you've listened to already, you can hear it just spew out their mouth. And the sad thing is, a lot of people actually believe it, and they're hypocritical. Their facts, their so-called facts, are twisted, and they present them in a way that makes you just go, well, maybe these big rich people are getting these tax breaks because these are our people in government, so they get to read the bill. Not a single one of them reads the bill. It's class warfare. It's race baiting. It's just what the Democratic Party has been doing for years upon years. And they want to act like they're all angels and, we've never put a piece of pork into any legislation. We are just angels. Oh my gosh, how can you sit there and say that with a straight face? These people are absolutely, and it's not just the Democrats. I promise you the Republicans are the same way. Promise you. I mean, they're just as bad as putting the pork in these bills. I liked what I believe it was Senator Rand Paul had put out years ago. Let's have 72 hours to read a bill. Let's make it available to the public to read. I mean, these are real things. Well, what do you have to hide if you want to? You're so much of a great public servant. Well, why can't we have time to read these bills? Why can't politicians make actually informed decisions based off their constituents and not the party? The parties are dead. I don't know what the future looks like, but the victory of Donald Trump is point proven that the parties are completely dead. People are sick and tired of the parties. And to his credit, he did run against the absolute most awful candidate in human history, Hillary Rodham Clinton. And if you get a chance, check out that Jimmy Kimmel live where I just can't stop laughing at it. Is people writing her thank you notes. And if you saw the conservative millennial over at the Blaze, she wrote her a thank you card too. It says thank you. And then she opens it and it says for losing. Oh my God. That had to be the funniest thing. Okay, ADD moment. Let's get back on track. Back on track to the wonderful Democratic Live Facebook video with Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Tom Perez, and the politician that has blocked me, Keith Ellison out of Minnesota. Here you go.
Third, huge deficit reduction. Just deficit increase.
Explosion.
They say 1.5. The Tax Policy Center, it's 2.4. But that is
we're talking trillions now.
Trillions. Right? But that is assuming they'll close a lot of loopholes. If they don't, it's $5 to $7 trillion. And many of my more moderate members feel that this is really going to hurt this proposal in their areas. And finally, and this was the big surprise, to pay for this, the tax cuts for the rich, $473 billion cut in Medicare, $1 trillion cut in Medicaid. So we like to say the two bills are sort of inverse. On the one hand, the health bill, they talked about health care and tried to sneak in tax cuts for the rich. On this one, they talk about tax cuts for the rich and try to sneak in cuts to health care. This bill will meet a similar fate.
Yes, the two bills are inverse. Leader Schumer, you're right. A cut to Medicaid or a cut to Medicare, it would be atrocious. You're right, because the unfunded liabilities that we have. I just did a quick Google search earlier on in the day on Sunday, and it said that the unfunded liabilities that the U.S. has right now is around $85 trillion. And that was, the date on that was 2013. We're 4 years later. It's got to be 128 to 211. I saw numbers all over. So, and these were places like the Washington Post. The Washington Post. They're not the most accurate in reporting things, but this is what we're talking about. And he also is talking deficit reduction or deficit issues. Are you kidding me? When you were in charge of this, when the Democrats, not you, when the Democrats were in charge of the Senate and the presidency, you didn't care about the credit card of China. But now all of a sudden that you're not in power, you do. And all these cuts to Medicaid and Medicare, whatever programs we're going to make cuts to, it's a tax cut for the rich. So when I grabbed the Graham and Cassidy bill for healthcare, just because I wanted to read through it, and I read through everything on it, and I know that has nothing to do with what we're talking about tonight, but because they were pushing, these are tax cuts for the rich. That's all the leftists, the progressives, the socialists, all three parts of the Democratic Party were saying to me on Facebook, face to face. I mean, that's all they have been saying. That's all you have been hearing. I did not see one thing for tax cuts for the rich. And they're obviously that are not going to come out and say, yeah, Section 37.44 out of Article 1896, whatever the heck it is. Tax cuts for the wealthiest. So, and I tried to read it line by line and try and comprehend everything. But everything that the Democrats do, it seems like they always revolve back to tax cuts for the rich. Most of you politicians are millionaires, and you're sitting out there passing on false narratives, and it's absolutely astonishing to me that they can. I mean, it's power, politics as usual, and I am just sick and tired of it. I'm at my end with every single left and right politician in this country. Take a listen to the next
goal of the Koch brothers is to take us back to 1890.
Right. Yeah.
When we had a few rich people and mainly poor people. Government did nothing, whether you had an illness, whether you couldn't afford an education, nothing.
Yeah,
they want to actually, you don't believe it because it's so amazing. They want to go back to it. And the only weapon we have is you.
Yeah.
We don't have the kind of billions that they put in. We don't have all these multimillionaires, greedy, who give so much money to the right wing. We have you.
That's right. That's the Democrats, the leftists do not have people that are putting in millions. They don't. Not at all. Oh, wait. Sorry. Time out. Washington Post put out the top 10 biggest donors in the 2016 election, and top of the list is Mr. Tom Steyer from San Francisco, California. You know, he's not a conservative or even a Republican at that. He's from San Francisco. And he gave $66.3 million after spending more than $70 million on the 2014 elections. A San Francisco-based hedge fund founder is plowing millions more into a super PAC focused on climate change. Sheldon Adelson, the casino mogul, is number 2, which is Republican. And then you just go on and on. S. Donald Sussman from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Oh, supporting Hillary and Democrat House candidates. Okay, and then the next one from Chicago, Fred Enchanter. Ooh, another supporter of Hillary and House and Senate Democrats. And out of the top 10 donors, there 7 of them was all Democrats. And by the end of September, the super PACs had raised $1.5 billion and had spent $791 million on ads for the 2016 election. But I'm sure there was no Democrats. There was no Democratic money in that. That was all those evil Koch brothers who are fiscally conservative, but they've come out. You can Google this. You can YouTube it. Socially liberal. I think Charles Koch said it himself out of the horse's mouth, but they refuse because it's political ammo. It serves them best to go against the Koch brothers, but they won't say a word about old Tommy from San Francisco, will they? Who gave the most money out of all the billionaires last year to the 2016 election. No, they won't say anything. All they are claiming is that the Koch brothers want to take us back to 1890 because that's exactly what they want to do. You're right. They just want to have them in charge, maybe a couple other people, and everybody else poor eating beans and rice all day, every day. If they're lucky, they'll get beans and rice. He'll give them cups of noodles, and they'll get a cup of water. 3 squares a day. That's it. Okay? That's what the Koch brothers want. Thank goodness we have people like you, Senator Schumer, just pointing that out, because us us peasants cannot figure that kind of stuff out on our own. Gosh, thank goodness for you. Oh, you guys are so smart. And what they go on to say the rest of, and I had all kinds of clips, but I don't want to spend any more time more than I need to, is they're just going on about the dreamers and different things like that. I mean, a typical progressive rhetoric. So, let's recount what we've had in the last two segments. We've had Puerto Rico is an island surrounded by water, big water, ocean water. Thank you, President Trump, for the sound clip of the year so far. That is the sound clip of the year. I love it. I love it. And we're talking about Nancy Pelosi, Leader Schumer. I like how she addresses him in this video. Leader Schumer, because he's a leader. He's a United States Senator. And he's a leader in this country. Especially when he's talking about how bad the response was to Puerto Rico. But then President Trump kind of contradicted what they said by stating, well, if you were a truck driver, you're a police officer, wouldn't you want to be helping your family and neighbors? Oh, okay. And Pelosi goes on to say, well, no matter what the roads, no matter what we have the U.S. military, and they'll take helicopters. Yes, let the United States military help Puerto Rico. I am all for that. I'm all for that. Let's help these people. No one's out on the street banging the horn. No, we can't help the Puerto Ricans. No. And gosh forbid, if President Trump goes down there and starts shooting paper towels out to the crowd, how dare him? That's disgusting. Anyways, there was a lot of meat in this audio clip, and if I encourage you to go listen to it, and I try to stay up to date of what politicians on both sides, not one side, both sides are doing, because politicians are all in it for themselves. They're in it for power. They're in it to do whatever makes them more money. It's funny how you go in not having very much money, you make $175,000 a year for 5 to 8 years, and then you get out and you go make 7 and 8 figures. Is it because you're just so great at what you do, or is it because your contacts you have? That's a question for you to answer, not me. Anyways, you're listening to Common Sense Radio on the Lanterns Radio Network.
You're listening to the Lanterns Radio Network. We are the network dedicated to empowering the individual, illuminating the truth, defending American exceptionalism, and inspiring future generations. Stay connected and get involved at lanterns.buzz for great radio. Get commentary and news of the day. Lanterns.buzz.
Check out Lumberlax. This is a company started by an 11-year-old Kai Talley. He plays lacrosse, and the money that they profit off of the business, they use to help less fortunate kids that cannot play lacrosse. He partners with nonprofits to give money to kids that physically cannot play the game due to special needs or illness. This is an amazing thing that he is doing, and he is extremely involved in his community. Take a look at the website, lumberlax.com, or email them directly at lumberlax@comcast.net and order a custom shaft for yourself or someone else. They also do coaches gifts, team sticks. They work with people to do fundraisers and so much more. Please check out lumberlax.com, official sponsor of Common Sense Radio with AJ Davis on the Lanterns Radio Network.
Those students students are here exercising their right to free speech. It's unfortunate that the demonstration got to the point where it actually violated university policy in terms of demonstrations that hinder the university's ability to do its work and function, and this was a formal function, so it's disappointing that the demonstration escalated to the level that we had to actually go a different path, but the president will share his message via video, and that'll go out a little bit later.
We are no official established group here at the University of Oregon. We are simply the students. That is what we call ourselves, the students of the University of Oregon. We're here because we believe that this university inherently belongs to the students, and over the years, the university has been taken away from us. We say no more. No more. The university is ours. The whole university is financed through our tuition dollars. Each student here brings at least $100,000 to this university. That is our level of investment. Since we are the only ones financing this university, I don't see Schill bringing $100,000 from his own pocketbook. I don't see any of them bringing any money. The students are the ones that bring the money. So then why are our demands completely and utterly destroyed and ignored? No longer. Our demands will be heard. We will be heard. We are the students. We will not be ignored. Expect resistance to anyone who opposes us.
Expect resistance from anyone that opposes us. Well, I oppose you. What kind of resistance am I going to encounter? You're listening to Common Sense Radio on the Lanterns Radio Network. That is audio from the University of Oregon campus. Protesters decided to storm the stage, chanting "Nothing about us without us," right before the president of the university, Michael H. Schill, was about to go up on stage and present his plans for the $50 million donation to the University of Oregon. This group, as you can hear, he is no official title or name. I think it's a coward, personally. But the Register Guard is reporting the group behind the U of O protest put out a press release late Friday afternoon listing 22 demands, including a tuition freeze and plan to lower tuition during the next 5 years. Whew! An end to faculty layoffs, and a ban on U.S. immigration and customs enforcement agents coming on campus. The president of University of Oregon responded, offered its own opinions on free speech, and he's quoted as saying, "Free speech is the right of individuals and communities to express themselves without repression from the state. According to the group, the students are not the state nor the repressors. Taking to the stage and using this platform was an act of free speech, not a violation of it." What he was, and I understand he was a white male. Well, I'm not sure if he identified, but he was a white male. And to be perfectly honest with you, I think it's absolutely insane he was getting ready to address the soon-to-be-built Black Cultural Center. Let me say that again. Soon-to-be-built Black Cultural Center, a new science and technology media center, and 9 new endowed faculty chair positions. He also planned to detail the significance of the $50 million anonymous gift to the university. Okay, so their demands was a tuition freeze over the next 5 years, or at least a plan. You don't have to. If I was him, I'd go, okay, we're freezing it in 5 years. And then those people will be graduated. I mean, and you go back into the audio of it, and he is on there. My goodness. These people that are running this university don't understand that they are not the ones that fund this. We are the ones that fund it with each student brings in $100,000 worth of financing. Whoa. Time out. Rewind. Either your parents or your student loans or the taxpayers are backing that. You didn't come up with $100,000. Some people, I would say probably 5 to 10% of people did. My wife attended the U of O for 2 years. Well, there was a community college on there. She, bounced, took some classes on campus and took some at the community college. But her parents paid for that. She didn't go into student loan debt. I guarantee you that young man that was on there, his $100,000 worth of debt, easily. While my wife was going to the University of Oregon, she had some friends that we had met that kept failing semesters. Kept failing. And they were $80,000 in debt and no college degree. And these people are storming the stage because I'm assuming, this is just an assumption, I know you make an ass out of yourself when you assume things, but they're probably in the same predicament. I would never, I would never just storm up on a stage. And I haven't met anybody that would do that personally. Even people that I disagree with politically and ideology is completely flawed compared to mine, because mine is centered on God and what can be wrong with that. And I don't want to get up here all holy and everything like that, but just think about this. Do you know anybody or have any friends that are out there protesting on the streets? Do you have any friends that are, for instance, storming the stage at the local university, demanding ICE not come on campus, demanding faculty not being laid off, even though the university president was getting ready to announce 9 new endowed faculty chair positions? That's new positions, boys and girls. That's new positions. Yet you're storming the stage. And I will I'll share Facebook. I'll try to tweet out the article from the Register Guard on this. I mean, it was absolutely fascinating to just watch it. If you go on YouTube and type in University of Oregon president protests, I would assume that would pull it up for you. But it's just amazing. There's a guy up there on the stage with a microphone, and all these other the reports were 40 people, some students and some not. So were they paid protesters, like all over the U.S.? Huh. Could be. I'm just asking the question. I don't know. And other good news, we have the wonderful hashtag that was trending earlier in the week, or late last week. Hashtag hands off my BC. And my favorite one so far is the tweet that came out from Nancy Pelosi. If POTUS cared so deeply about the Constitution, he wouldn't have just trampled on a woman's right to health care. Okay. That's a lot right there. I mean, we could spend half a show just on that one tweet. I mean, seriously. If the president cared so deeply about the Constitution, time out right there, Nancy. During the run-up of the 2016 election cycle, you were screaming at the top of your lungs, along with your other fellow Democrats, about how the Supreme Court seat was stolen. Can you remind me what part of the Constitution? I mean, the Senate does what? Consent and check? Okay. And in any election cycle, has there ever been? I mean, you can hit Google. Google's a very good topic, and find out that in no presidential election with an open Supreme Court was there a justice that was put through. I mean, sorry, Mayor Garland, that's one guy that was madder than hell on election day, and I don't blame him. But I thank God that he did not get on the court, and I am I'm a huge fan of Neil Gorsuch. Huge. He's an originalist, and he interprets the law, not legislate the law. Getting off track a little bit there. The next tweet that comes in from Daniela Campoamor. If Mike Pence's NFL stunt isn't absolute proof that, quote, pulling out early, end quote, never works, I don't know what is. Hashtag hands off my BC. I mean, there's a lot of good ones. I mean, seriously. You just go into Twitter and type in hashtag hands off my BC. NARAL. In 2014, abortion rates reached their lowest recorded level. Improved birth control, not abortion restrictions, were the reason. Not abortion restrictions. Okay, so here's the question that I ask. I asked my wife, because she's a woman. I've never in my entire life taken birth control. Not once. And I know that's hard to believe. I identify as a white male Christian. And I've never taken birth control. It's shocking for most. Very shocking. I said, hey, honey. I said, how much does birth control cost? And she says, you can get it over the counter for, say, $9. $9 for probably 30 pills. Or a month's supply. Okay, people are throwing a hissy fit over $9 a month because they want their birth control for free. They want their iPhone. I mean, why can't we put hashtag free iPhones? I mean, I want a free iPhone. Why can't I? You know, that's more than $9 a month. The same people that are tweeting out and pushing this nonsense, this garbage thought process, is people that are sending it from their $800 iPhone. Same people that are getting on their MacBook Pro, their $1,500 laptop, and typing in that they need their $9 a month birth control. I mean, the audacity for these people to actually... I can't even fathom what they were raised with, the thought process that they're going through. Because to me, it's sickening. I have a daughter, and I'm teaching her to be strong, to be independent, and not rely on anybody. That's my goal in life for all three of my kids, but especially her. Because she's the only girl in our family. Oh, gosh. Well, let's get to some good news. Let's get to some, somewhat good news. You've heard everybody talking about the Las Vegas shooting, and it was horrible. Our prayers go out to them. Our prayers. What Eric Church did was simply phenomenal. I mean, what a stand-up guy he is. I'll let you listen. Check this out.
Tell you something. The reason I'm here tonight is because of Heather Melton, her husband Sonny, who died. And every person that was there, because I'm going to tell you something, I saw that crowd. I saw them with their hands in their air. I saw them with boots in the air. And what I saw, that moment in time that was frozen, there's no amount of bullets that can take away. None. And that night, something broke in me on Sunday night when that happened. And the only way I've ever fixed anything that's been broken in me is with music. So I wrote a song, and this will be. Why you with your long brown hair flowing, and you with your fresh tattooed skin, and you from the Western Virginia that you never get to see again. As darkness descended the desert, and a bad actor starred in his play, why you from Tennessee did life capture, and me from Tennessee get away. Yeah, when the morning sun hit the mountain, and a glorious still calm the breeze, I asked the God of all knowing wisdom, why you and why not me? Yeah, the Lord is my refuge, my fortress, my God with whom I trust. But I'll never know why the wicked gets to prey on the best of us. Why you full of life and promise, at the top of your lungs so loud, my songs that you sang so sweetly will ring in my ears forever now. Yeah, when the morning sun hits the mountain, and a glorious still calms the breeze, I'll ask the God of infinite wisdom, why you and why not me? The sun hits the mountain, and a glorious still calms the breeze, I'll ask the God of my salvation, why you and why not me? Why you and why not me?
Thank you, Eric Church, for being such a decent human being. While after this atrocious attack in Las Vegas, everyone needed to politicize, you made it about human beings. You didn't say Republican, Democrat. You made it about human beings. And I thank you. God bless you, Eric Church. From the progressive utopia in Oregon, I say goodnight to you, and God bless you, God bless America, and God bless Eric Church for being such a phenomenal human being.
You're listening to the Lanterns Radio Network. We are the network dedicated to empowering the individual, illuminating the truth, defending American exceptionalism, and inspiring future generations. Stay connected and get involved at lanterns.buzz. For great radio, get commentary and news of the day. Lanterns.buzz.